Hi everybody. In this video, I'm going to talk about SectionList in Reactnative. We have an example here. As here, we have multiple field in the information technology and the subsection here. So firstly, I will start with creating a new file for saving data for SectionList. So we have an array of data here. It contains multiple sections. Firstly, we define a variable session list data. It is an array, and inside this array, we have a multiple object. So the object has firstly we have the data field. So the data field or property is an array, and the second property is title. It is a title for each of the section. So the data here can be multiple object. We have many objects here. So I can define each object has a property of name and description. For example, the title is server side and the data is a list. The first item in list we have a Django. Description is a high level Python web framework, etc. So if you have multiple in data, we can have for example Django, Ruby on Rails, Perl, etc. And it is a section, and we can add more. The second section has the same structure as the first section. We have the second, we can as the client side, and the third is for example artificial intelligence, and the data for each of the object is also a separate array. And inside the array we have multiple object. Here we have a name, we have description, etc. And I have to export this variable to make it is public, so it can be accessed from any file other than this file. Okay, so we create a new component, a React component named basic flat list. So the basic flat list here we can define, we import some of the library, we import the section list data, and we define a component. So the component here contain the render function. So begin the export default section list, basic section list. So inside this I import the section list component, the library from Reactnative. So copy this. We have a render item. The first property is a render item. The render item is an arrow function, and inside this I return to JSX. So the component I return here is section list item, but where is this component? So I can define this component by copy this name and define a component named section list item. It stands from Reactnative component, and inside the section list item I can I will have the view outside, and inside this we can set multiple types. So here is a final design. So we have the background, and inside this we have the first and the second text. So display the name and the description of each object. Okay, so let's start with the first text component. The first text component inside the view, so I can customize it using style, and we have it is font size is bold. We have bold text, we have color here, we have marking left and right. I can get the property from the item properties. So by accessing the field inside this, I can this.prop.item to the object and dot to the property name. Yes, I got dot name. Also, I can copy this text and do similarly with the second text. So the second text is description. So it is similarly we use the description here. We access to the description, and so the description content to this component, and I comment out this line. So replace by importing the basic section list and paste the basic section list here. Yes, there's a basic section list, and I can set the property of sections. The section prop here is point to the section list data. Yes, so we have a section list data. So the data is okay, but the firstly, where is the header? So we can add the header to here, but the second is warning that key not found, and how to fix this. So I can add a property key to the section, and the second way I use a key extractor. Key extractor is a function that allows you to generate a key depending on the input property. So I use the name as a key because the name is unique in a list of objects. The key is unique, and I can use the key name. Okay, and where is the header? Now I can access the header here using render section header. So we have these functions. This function will return to a component that will become header. So we return to header. I name is a section header. So where is this function? This is my defined function. So I copy this name and I define this class by using class or section header is stand from component. Okay, so the section header is also a component with the render function and with the constructor. Okay, so this is just the final will be like this. So we have a view. So inside the view we can add a text to here. We have a text. Inside the text I can modify it to bold, and color is white, margin, font size, etc. So the input property or the prop of the section header is a section. So I can access the section here by calling this .prop.section.title. Okay, so this will point the data to here by this .prop.section.title. So I can run and see the output property. Okay, nice. But now how to add a separate line to here? If we want to add separate line to here with a darker, how I can do this? Okay, you can add a view below the text, and the view has a height up about 1 pixel, margin left and right, background color. Okay, so the margin left and the margin right is the same as the above text, and literally I can go to this. Okay, it is below up up the section here. Yes, okay, sure. So the lesson here is end today. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel for more exciting videos or download code in GitHub.